It's recording. Go ahead.
Great. So the goal of the town hall meeting is to get the attention of the city, the county, and state officials about the issues in all of our communities in San Diego. And the goal is also to have a discussion about homelessness that highlights the issues that business owners, church leaders, homeless individuals, residents, tourists, and identifies resources, tools, support, and funding we need from the city and county to address these issues. So the approach we're promoting is balanced in that we want to help those that want help, and then we want to address those who are aggressive and make our communities unsafe for everyone. There will be 60 minutes of public comment for community members to express their concerns, issues, and we'll also hear from Councilmember Chris Kate, Councilmember Lori Zapp, Councilmember Mark Kersey, County Supervisor Ron Roberts, staff member who is dedicated to the homeless issues, and Director of Human and Health Services, Piedad Garcia, and the mayor's newly appointed homeless Stacy Spector, and then there are also going to be many other city, county, state officials who will attend but have yet not confirmed. Okay?
That's great.
Thank you for asking, because I think as time has gone on, we have more of an idea of how we want this to be, and the better we can get that message out to the community and all the people we're inviting in the groups, I think the bigger attendance or higher attendance we'll have. So, it's just not going to be a discussion. Alvin really wanted to, he's the one who started this, and he wanted to get some accountability, community members and the city and county staff, to let them know directly what the problems we're having. In our particular community, I'll just mention, we have a lot of aggressive homelessness that have created a really bad, unsafe situation in a lot of the neighborhoods. And I live close to the library, and we see this all the time. So that's another reason how this came about. Okay, do you want me to answer the questions?
Sure.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so it's going to be, as you know, at the Town and Country, and it's going to be in one of the large conference rooms, and the conference room holds about 400. So we have plenty of room, I'm sure, to continue to invite more people. So it is a citywide focus, as Ed said, but we really need to get the word out. This is the time that we need anybody who knows groups or is affiliated with community groups or can make a commitment to send this to 10 friends and ask them, tell them how important it is to come and participate. We really need that help. So we need to continue.
So with 400, if we can even get 400 people there, that's impressive. And if we can get 600 people there, that's even a bigger statement.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big goal to try to fill that place.
Yes, it is.
But, having participated in a lot of big events and planned with other people big events, but that, if we can get 100, that's even good. But we can continue to promote this, but really get people to buy into how important it is that they spend a couple of hours if they want things to change. So that's the help you guys can give us. And people, if you know other people in other parts of the city, please reach out to them, because I don't know.
They probably know, but we should probably hit all of our town councils and planning groups in the coastal communities. Make sure.
Right, we've done that. and we'd like to reach out to more to like North Park and Hillcrest and, you know, other areas of San Diego. But we can always remind people who, you know, if you guys send out a group email reminding everybody, that would be great.
Yeah, so we have a week and a half. Has anybody reached out to the various publications like Beach and Bay and their other publications in OB Point Loma?
Yes, I think I've been gone, but I immediately hooked Elvin up with media specialist who's helped us with the town council and other community events. So I need to follow up to see what kind of progress has been going on with that, because he was going to get the media there and also the Beach and Bay, but I don't know what progress has gone on since I've been out of town.
Not just for being present to take back the information of the event, but also to help get the word out. By articles ahead of time.
I know. Fortunately, I was a while and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Alvin hasn't done that, because he's been pretty diligent about getting out to all the planning groups and town councils and getting their endorsements and having us vote to approve that we're, you know, supporting this event and the use of our logo, etc. So he seems pretty thorough and adamant. So I'd be surprised if he hadn't reached out to all of the press as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think I just have to find out what Rob Hall has been doing, because he was the one who was going to help him. So I'll make sure. That was one of the things I need to follow up.
Yeah, and sometimes just going out and hitting everybody again and saying, remind everybody you can. You know, it just generates that energy and enthusiasm. It'd be nice also if there was a way with it that somebody could go out. You know, it'd be nice if there was a place where everybody could go out and sign up. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm going, and you can see this big mass of people going, and that can also cause people to say, hey, you know, if all my friends are going, I'm going, and it builds that synergy. That's something we might want to think about for future events as the coalition. How do we build synergy, and how do we help organizations like this build that synergy? I'm sure there's a lot more good stuff going on building that synergy than I know about.
Right.
But
I understand. I think that's a good idea. You wanted to know about how, besides helping with that, if anybody goes into a business in the next week or knows a business owner, please give them the information, a local business person. You go take a flyer with you and tell them, how important this is. That would help as well. I always think, when we do things face to face, it really gets that connection and commitment from people more easily, than sending something out. But that's just me.
Another good option it's a good option for sharing information is nextdoor.com. If you guys are on that, I know I was able to connect with a lot of people and share a lot of events on it. So I haven't seen this one on nextdoor.com yet. So, but I haven't necessarily looked for it either. Oh, maybe it is. I haven't looked up.
They go by, but it wouldn't.
I'm
again,
on
it wouldn't hurt.
Nextdoor.
It wouldn't hurt to.
I haven't seen it on Nextdoor in Claremont.
You know what? It's been on Nextdoor. I know Rachel Allen put it on a couple weeks ago, but that was another thing. You're right. Is I'm going to keep putting it on a couple times this week. Unfortunately, I don't know how to post the flyer, but that's okay. I do it all the time. I just type it out because I'm in charge of the speakers at the town council, and that's how I publicize getting people there. Is I just type out where, when, why people should come, and so far that's worked pretty well. So I'll do that, and if anyone wants to continue to help out and repost it, So
I could post it.
that'd be great. Yeah, and just, maybe preface it with, like, why it's important for people to come.
I took a picture of the flyer, so we'll have to put it on SD Coastal Coalition page and other pages that we have out there with groups.
Okay, will you be sure to... Who is this? I'm sorry.
Amber.
This is Amber?
Mm-hmm.
Amber, will you let me know where you're posting those so I can tell Alvin? Because he wants to know.
Yeah,
That'd
we can do it on SD Coastal Coalition page first, and then does he have a preference of what pages, or?
No.
Okay.
Anything. Just let me know. 'Cause we're keeping track. Because then we can go revisit those again and have a record of what we're doing. That'd be great.
And I'm looking at Nextdoor right now, and I don't see the homeless event on the 26th being listed.
Well, I remember. Well, we'll put it on. I'll make sure it's on, and Amber will put it on too. But I know Rachel put it on before I left. She just posted the flyer though. She didn't really put anything else on about it. So I really.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you can
do that.
Right. I think you can create a full event and then invite people, and then they can say they're coming or not. On the left side under home inbox, neighbors maps, and then there's an event calendar, and so you can add a new event that way with the date, time, location, etc.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Okay.
Marcella?
That's a great idea, because I go to so many events just from that, and I don't even sometimes know what the event is, why I'm going. I'm just like, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to go.
Right, and that's actually how I met Karen Blanton from the homeless street gardens, PV Street Guardians, and I went to their laundry event last Thursday, just a couple days ago. And so that was cool. So I got to spend a good amount of time talking to her and some of the organizers, and they were having a nice service event of allowing the homeless to get free laundry done and just giving them money to get the laundry done, and they had some pizza and got to hang out and chat and chat with her about stuff. And I was able to press my issue of, hey, let's get long-term solutions for this problem, because the things that are happening right now are extremely short-term.
Yeah.
Marcella?
Right.
Marcella, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Marcella?
Who is this?
Oh, Jim's
This is
on.
Jim
Hey,
Elko.
Hi, Jim.
Hi. One of the things I wanted to mention is it seems like Trader Joe's is a very high activity hub in Pacific Beach, and maybe setting up a table outside. I think that Trader Joe's draws in a lot of people, and I've seen other groups set up a table just adjacent to the entrance. So I think you would have a lot of visibility there.
Okay.
Good idea.
I know I
Right.
go to Trader Joe's all the way from Claremont. And
I know it's busy there. Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, welcome suggestion. And just to let you know, we actually do have Andy Lacombe and Rachel Allen and myself, and we are part of the Homelessness Coalition. We started this group about, a year ago or so, and we actually have been working on short-term and long-term solutions, and we're just starting to take some action, work on our action items, but we're going to, as we haven't really been able to give the information to everybody yet until we really kind of get a good foundation, but we can continue, from as we make progress, give information to the Coastal Coalition, so you'll know what's going on. But anyway, there's a lot going on. But you'd be surprised that a lot of the people who are giving services don't know who else is giving services, and there's a lot of non-communication between service providers and the city. The city is not very organized in communicating with the, churches and small service providers that are not affiliated with the city. So there's a lot of room for improvement there.
Marcella, have you reached out to the new person who is in charge of homelessness in San Diego?
Who is that?
There was somebody who was just appointed as the, for lack of a better term, the czar of homelessness. Somebody was just hired within the last week or so.
I posted something on our...
Yeah, Stacy Spector.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, she was invited and she is going to come. So, yeah, thank you.
So it's not just for this event, but it seems like really opening the channels of communication with her. She's certainly on the learning curve, and to make our efforts known to her, and then she could dial us into other efforts around the city.
Right. Okay. I'm writing that down. Okay. Hey, one thing also, if anyone is affiliated or goes to a church and knows the pastor or rector or whoever, priest, if you could also, we've reached out to them, but if you have a special, relationship with somebody there, that would really help us as well, because we really need the churches to come. And we've had a really hard time getting the churches to come to our homelessness coalition meetings. We usually only have 2 out of like 10 of them who come consistently once a month. So it would really help.
Yeah.
Anybody does anyone go to church? I don't go to church. I can't help you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't church, but I live by a lot of churches in Claremont.
Well, if if it's convenient to drop a flyer by and leave it for, maybe they can announce it or put it up somewhere, that would be great.
You may have covered some of this. I was busy, getting recording set up and things like that. What is the mechanics of the town council going to be? We're going to have some presentations up front by some folks. Is there going to be working sessions like we see with the Rewild or breaking into small discussion groups? Do you know what the facilitation of the meeting is going to be?
I don't have, other than, let's see, let me look here. The only thing I know, because I don't have the agenda or the schedule, is that there will be 60 minutes for public comment. I don't think we'll be breaking up like they do with Deanza. I think it'll just be, coming up to the microphone, but I'm not sure, and so I need to find out about that. Andy Lacombe and Alvin have been working on that since I've been gone, so I don't know what's happening with that.
Yeah.
Would that be helpful to know prior to the meeting, or?
No, if I can influence that, I would. I just attended a function of about 250 people about a week and a half ago. They held it over at the Jacob Center for Neighborhood Intervention up on Market and Euclid. And after some initial presentation of information, then we broke up into about 8 different groups, maybe 10, with about 25 people in each group on various subjects. And each group then, wrote up all the information that was coming out. They actually had a facilitator each group. That information was all written up on large flip chart paper, about 6 pages per group. And then they had an area where everybody could sort of mingle around, and each group then gave a short report out, and then people could mingle around and look at what was written up and everything. And that type of a method, what it does is it brings people together because they get to sit down and have a little bit of back and forth discussion with each other and explore the opposing viewpoints and the opposing positions that people hold. When you have a meeting where people present up front and then everybody gets their 1 or 2 minutes at the microphone, The only thing that happens is somebody vents their frustration or they vent their idea for improvement, then they sit down and the next idea is presented, and then the meeting's over. And we don't have that interaction where people can explore why do you think that way? Why do you think that's going to work? And you get that interaction going. So if there's anything I can do to help influence or help create some of that dialogue, true heart-to-heart dialogue, I'm willing to meet with people to help make that happen.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Ed. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and
okay.
To me, the homeless problem, sure, we can go out and do some quick-term fixes. To me, I'd rather study and investigate and contemplate and become aware of this for 2 years and come up with some root solutions that eliminate homeless. Gosh, who was
Completely
asking me
agree
the other
with you,
night?
Ed.
Pardon me?
I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, somebody just the other night, I'm trying to remember who it was, said, how many homeless people are there in Singapore? And that was yesterday morning at a meeting I went to, and they said there's 0. You know, and so we talked a little bit about what they do there and how they do that. And I haven't researched it to say if what he's telling me is true or not, but I do want to look into that. And you know, it's any little solution like that is not simple, you know, but that's the kind of thing I'd like to see a meeting like this be is let's really dig into this and figure out how we can cut the homelessness down by 75% over the next 3 years.
Right. Yeah, I was talking to Karen about this a little bit. Maybe I got to log off after that. I got to feed my kid. But
okay.
You know, and I gave her some of my ideas, and it was incredible because she's now in charge of this PB Street Guardians, which is great. But she had never heard of the ideas that I was presenting. I was like, these aren't that I came up with. You know, there's the things that I've heard happening in other cities, counties, states, or even countries. And I think you're right about Singapore. It's also true in several other countries, including Dubai, for example. Right? But that's because they've got very strict immigration policies, and all of the natives are very wealthy because money comes out of the ground there. And then all the 90% of the population, which are immigrant workers, as soon as they don't have a job, they have to go back to their own country.
Yeah.
Right? And the employer is responsible for that. Here in San Diego and PB, you know, the conversation I had with her is mostly probing and asking her questions. Is like, what percentage of homeless want homes? And she's like, yeah, you're right. Very, very small percentage, you know, maybe 10, 20% want homes. A lot of them don't want to be in a home. They want to be outside. So, which is fine. But, and I agree that it's not illegal to be homeless. You know, where it's a problem is that me using our public facilities and parks and beaches, it doesn't limit the enjoyment of anyone else. Right. The problem is that homeless people using it does limit the enjoyment of other people because oftentimes they leave trash. Oftentimes they're leaving needles. Oftentimes it's uncomfortable being around them because they're under the influence of something that's, turns them into a different personality than we prefer. So it's that kind of limitation of my freedoms that they're imposing on me that needs to be solved. And, you know, I think the bigger thing is we can't be so tolerant of it. The churches, by feeding, create a temporary solution. They're good for the next 4 to 8 hours and they don't need food, right? But that doesn't create a long-term solution. So you'll see, I know in St. Louis they're proposing that if anyone is attempting to help the homeless, cool, you have to offer comprehensive services and the full suite of all the services they need, not just feeding, because that's only enabling. That only serves a short-term solution of making sure no one starves to death, right? Which isn't really happening around here. But if they can't offer those full long-term solutions, cool, take that money or take the funds or take the food that you want to provide them and give it to an organization that can provide that full suite of services and use your resources that way so we can start getting results and get people into jobs programs, and get people counseling and get people treatment and get the few of them that want housing into housing.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump in here real quick, Henish. I see that Elvin has joined on with us. Elvin, you're muted. There you are.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And if you want to share your camera, you can as well. You came in just as Hennis was sort of talking the issue itself. most of our meeting this far, we have 3 subjects. We're on the first one, has been about promoting. How can we promote? How can we get the right audience in there? And we talked about that, and then we moved towards sort of the format and what's going on there, and then we sort of got into talking about the issue itself a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I was talking about how, you know, is the meeting going to have place in there for groups, sort of smaller groups, to get together and have a little bit of dialogue and discussion and exploration? Is it just going to be a presentation by some officials and people with organizations and then public comment? So you can probably fill in more exactly what you have in mind.
Sure. The format's changed a little bit. It was 30, 60, 30, which was 30 minutes of presentation, 60 minutes of public comment, and then 30 minutes of the officials kind of speaking afterwards. We're actually going to move the officials to the front of the conversation and then leave public comment at the end with the presentation from current bids and town councils and what they're doing right now. So it's going to, this first one is more of an educational seminar. There aren't going to be any breakout sessions. One of the big pieces in big news is that Stacey Spector will be announcing, she's already announced her position in the mayor's office, so she'll be kind of there first as her first public speaking engagement, I guess, about her role as the senior advisor for housing solutions. So that'll be the first place. Besides that, the next is going to be first quarter of 2017 is, I think, will be the next town hall meeting that we would like to do, where there will be those breakout sessions, where there will be the ability for people to get more.
What day did he say, so I can have it on document?
Yeah, it is October 26th, and it starts at 6 p.m. At the Town and Country Resort and Convention Center. It's the only place that can fit about 300 people. So that's what we're expecting to be there.
But that's for the breakout one that you want to do?
That's
or
the
you
first one.
Remember?
That's the first one. Yeah.
Is there a date
I know
set for the
about that.
breakout?
The breakout one, there's no date yet.
Okay.
Honestly, I want to be able to speak with the city council members as well as Stacey Spector, because the goal is now for Stacey to take over. The goal is for her to take charge as the direct connection to the mayor's office and to be that focal point for state, federal, and local projects to really come together. We would love to do as much as we can, but as ordinary citizens, I don't think we would get the ears and attention of as many congressmen as we need to get the funding. So we have been reached out by the county Health and Human Services. So at least we have local and county and maybe some state representatives to be there in part of the discussion. But it's really going to take a lot of federal discussion as well, in my mind, to really get the funding that we need. And this is a nationwide issue. It's not just San Diego, so it's going to take a more comprehensive approach. But to your question, Amber, January or February, give us a little time frame there, would be that time where we have that breakout session. And maybe it's something that we just do on our own. Maybe if Stacey doesn't want to lead that, we just make that our next priority. Or in January and February, we do those breakout sessions. As you can see, when we've taken our voices, come together, and spoken to our government, they've now realized how big of an issue it was. When we were in disparate conversations, and little conversations all over San Diego, they was all right. Well, they was kind of picking us apart one by one. Now that we're really together, focused as one conversation, they really can't ignore us anymore. So it all depends on how this first town hall goes, and what the results of it afterwards. There are two benchmarks that I have of goals for this town hall. One is to have a coordinator person who can bring all the conversations together, and that's already happened. And two, the funding to go towards local areas, districts, to get clean and safe programs in place, as well as HOT teams, homeless outreach teams in place. So those two services, I feel, are the first things that we can tackle right away. I know that as vice president of the bid, and Hennish being on the planning group, we've done a lot already. to really move that needle forward in Pacific Beach to get that to happen. On top of that, too, we have Ocean Beach as a prime example of doing a clean and safe program there. Hillcrest bid, taking funding to do that clean and safe program there. So we have a lot of examples already. So we just need to be, one, get the funding to do that. Two, get the city budgets, our city council members to get the budgets put into that, the funding's going to go in there. And three, just implement it. I believe really that we can implement that by the end of next year. Discover Pacific Beach is allocated up to $25,000 to be used in the clean and safe program for the bid area for Pacific Beach. Now that's not going to be enough. You know, the budget for each area.
And who funded that?
Discover Pacific Beach.
Okay.
So 25,000. Another 25,000 actually come from the business owners in PB that are self-funding part of that, and we're trying to get that 50,000 to be matched by our council representative Lori Zaff's office. So that's the goal. So that's the model that we want to implement everywhere else. That's the model that Hillcrest or Ben Nichols over at Hillcrest BID, that's what they did. They said, okay, well, we'll put up this much. Councilmember Todd Gloria, will you put up this much?
I have a question, Alvin. This is Marcella. Are you wanting them to match the security that you guys are going to have on the boardwalk?
Yes.
Which you're going to match? And then where would that extra security go?
So it's a two-section approach or two-level approach. What we've done was the beta testing, let's just call it beta testing approach, where we're doing just the boardwalk between Crystal Pier and the Ocean Park and Hotel. So we have two blocks that we're kind of working on right now, and we're seeing great implementation there. And actually, what was lacking before was like the respect between the businesses and the homeless individuals. I feel like we've gained that respect back between our businesses and the homeless individuals. Of course, there are the aggressive transients that are still very aggressive, which those clean and safe programs are helping out a lot. But Marcelo, to your point, the bids are going to do a first approach of just doing the bid. But that, of course, will start going into the community, and the idea there is to really push forth a community-wide clean and safe program. And security measures, like, for instance, making sure that your front lawn is actually lit up so that when people are sleeping on your front lawn, that when the clean and safe patrol officers run by, they can see that that person is not supposed to be there. Or if someone urinating or defecating or whatever on your front porch, that those clean and safe officers that are on ATVs, on motorcycles, on in their cars, on their bicycles, they're able to do that. So it's going to take time. Now, funding is the major issue there. So what we're going to need to do is first implement the bid assessment, or try to figure out district funding, or, for instance, the maintenance assessment district or something, an assessment in order to make that happen. But, you know, to a lot of our community members' points, should it be our responsibility to pay for all of this? No.
Hey, Alvin, Alvin, let me chime in real quick. Just a quick thing that I noticed. I went and did a ride-along with the police about a week and a half ago on Thursday night.
Yep.
And so it was about 6 police beach teams that were patrolling Garnett and Mission between 6 p.m. and 4 a.m., right, effectively. And they said that literally a majority of the problems that they have to deal with come from 2 problem bars, and it comes down to the fact that they don't have the proper security or manage their crowds. And I was like, well, we're wasting $600,000 to probably $1 million in policing funding just to monitor these 2 bars because of the externalities they cause, as opposed to using some of that funding to help address these other problems that we're begging for funding for. So it's odd that, you know, one, that they can't do anything to shut down these bars, 2, or change the behavior, encourage proper management and proper security, so we don't have to have them supplemented by our taxpayer-funded police to manage their overflow.
And I agree with you 100% on that.
Can I just think if we had a conditional use permit like Ventura does, we wouldn't have that problem. But people have it, you know, I had been a part of that, trying to get where they would have their security at that bar, and they would have to pay for their own security, and they would have to monitor their clientele going in and out and over-serving, etc. But people didn't
What
buy
program
into
was
it.
that?
Pardon me?
It's called
What
a
program was that in Ventura?
it's called a conditional use program and a deemed approved ordinance, a DAO. Those are the two things that have been trying to be worked on here in Pacific Beach, or actually San Diego County. And just to tag on to that, I sit on the alcohol policy panel as a sector leader to represent the businesses. So we are working on something like that. Everyone has a CUP already, right? There's a conditional use permit for every single location. Now, they're not enforced. That's the problem. The conditional use permits are not enforced. So that is causing the overflow into our streets, which is causing the problem. And I agree with you guys 110% that overflow is causing a problem for us. Now, the major funders for the Clean and Safe program are those bars, are those businesses. Those are the people giving $5,000 to $10,000 a year in order to alleviate the issue for the police department. So I'm going to speak with Captain Hanton. He said, look, I love the idea of a Clean and Safe program because it gets my beat officers off of security detail and onto actually doing things that are worthwhile for a police officer. So having that Clean and Safe program will free up the time for those individuals on an ongoing basis.
And the Clean and Safe program is going to be increasing the numbers of the HOT team, but also private security. Is that what
Correct.
you're talking about? Okay.
Exactly. So that's actually, Clean and Safe program is simply increasing security and the cleaning program of our business district. The HOT team, on the other side, the homeless outreach team, that's separate. Now, in speaking with Captain Hanton, he says the resources that the police department has are so minimal that it'll be very, very difficult for him to have designated HOT teams. Well, how the Hillcrest bid solved that was they asked Alpha Project, which is designed to do that, to have them as the homeless outreach team. So they will then, which they can use every single dollar. So if we give them $100,000, they will be able to use every single dollar and not have to pay taxes on that and go directly towards the homeless outreach.
Elvin, this is Jim, and I'd like to make 3 quick points. The first is that Scott Peters gave a presentation to the Claremont Town Council about a week and a half ago, and the first item on his list was stating that he's doing everything he can to change the formula in Congress from the formula used to distribute federal dollars, which is based on housing stock, how old your housing stock is. So he's working very hard to change that. So he gave a number, something like San Diego is number 4 on the homeless problem. I should say has number 4 the most homeless people in the U.S., but yet is 22 regarding the federal dollars that are distributed. So he's working very hard in that regard to change that formula. So he's well aware of it, but it's a very, very important channel since we're talking about money. So that's one issue. Another very quick point, Marcelo, when you said Ventura, were you talking about Ventura Place or the city?
The city of Ventura.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. And finally, I attended it was kind of a town hall meeting down in East Village about 4 weeks ago, and there was a man who, I can't remember his name, but I think he was in charge of the Alpha Project. He's somebody who you definitely need to bring into the conversation and attend that meeting at the Town and Country. Alvin, you might know who he is. He's probably the guru, so to speak, as far as knowing the problems of the homeless. He actually is on the street with them. Not that he is homeless, but he's the type of guy who he says he brings his best friend with him, Jack Daniels, when he talks to the homeless. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I do. He actually, funny story, I'm trying to forget, it's Robert. First name is Robert McElroy, I believe. He gave me my first, I guess, quote unquote, community award back in 2004 for trying to help the homeless, trying to get funding for him. So I actually have a very, very soft spot for him because he actually got me on this path a long, long time ago. So, but yes, I am actually having a phone call with him either Tuesday or Wednesday. We're trying to schedule a time with him to really have him be a part of the conversation, because a lot of the funding is going to go towards him, to his efforts, to building those either permanent or temporary shelters. Actually, he can't do permanent shelters. It would be more temporary shelters.
Yes.
And as well as getting those services and working with Health and Human Services to really close that loop. Because a lot of the problems is there's so many gaps. You're great. People are doing this part, but then they're doing this, but there's that 2-inch gap in between where they just can't bridge. So it's really getting to, and on to Scott Peters' point, the housing for, he's been working, I've been hearing that for 2 years. So I know that he's working on it. His office has stated to Discover Pacific Beach that we're working on it. But please, can you just give me something else other than you're working on it, and let me know where you're at with the process. He 110% understands the issue. I just don't know how hard he's working on it in order to make it happen. And I understand how difficult of a situation that it is, because we're fighting another city for dollars, right? We're fighting another city that has the same problem. And it may not be as bad as ours, but those community members are fighting just as much as we are in order to get those dollars here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here for a minute. We're sucking through a lot of time, and what we've actually gotten into in the last 10 minutes or better is working the issue. And I think our real focus today is how can we help the real working meeting be better? How can we get the right people there? How can we get more of the right people there? And how can that meeting come off better? Because there's only
Hey, Ed, I got an idea. On that front, and I see this because I do go to a lot of these meetings, and I've seen meetings done great, which involves technology, right? One, I think a good idea is to be able to potentially stream live, maybe Twitter comments on a projector, so people can kind of chime in, and you can hear more than one opinion at a time, right? Because all of us are now familiar with multitasking. I've just cooked lunch and cleaned the kitchen after feeding my son right now while I'm having this conversation with you, because now we do that, right? But I think having like a live Twitter stream would be an awesome idea. Other things I've seen at meetings like this are live polling, right? Someone will say, hey, that's a great question. What do people feel about this, A, B, or C? And then you can just go to a quick website on your phone, chime in, and instantly polls people, and now you get a feel for what the people are thinking. And it creates a much more collaborative space and quicker ability to share ideas. So I think adding a technology component to the meeting could make it more effective and collaborative, so people can share ideas faster and more efficiently than just having to hear one voice at a time.
I wonder if we could get somebody like Scott Lewis, Voice of San Diego, to do a live podcast of the event at the same time somehow.
We have plenty of space there for tables and people to set up. There's actually in the ballroom, right before you get in the ballroom, there's a lobby area which can be used by anything for the most part.
Okay, some of the other things that came to my mind is, one of the things I heard missing, we don't really have a clearinghouse of all these efforts and organizations and things that are going on. If we can find that space, we want that space to be, we want to create the San Diego Coastal Coalition to be that space, but it's not that space today, but we need that space. Maybe there's some technology out there that we can just do, because it'd be really great to see all the programs that are doing feeding, all the programs that are doing security and policing, all the programs that are, blah, 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 and be able to see that picture. The other one I wrote down is maybe we need a working session where we identify the known gaps, so that we can go to this meeting and there can be a presentation on this is what's going on, but these are the gaps that exist that aren't being addressed. Another one I wrote down was, should we coordinate a message by a group of people? In other words, I get up and I have a certain piece of message, Stephanie has a message, Amber has a message, and through several of us talking, we're getting out, we're not duplicating each other, we're not off track, but we've given a little bit of thought to what that message is, that gets into the public record. I really like the tech stuff, and we need to go after that and see if we can find somebody that can do Twitter feeds and stream live and things like that. So I'll see what I can find out on that one as well.
The only technology piece for October 26th will be Facebook streaming, Facebook living the entire event.
Oh, that's great.
Which will record the event. Hennis, I think that's a great idea to do polling and then actually have questions from the community and people looking on, the streaming and so forth. I think that's really. I'm not. The AV that's being donated for this event is not prepared to do that. But if we have something, say January, February, we can definitely work on getting that done because that's a great idea.
And so we need to get the word out to people that can't make it there that the streaming is going to be occurring.
Correct.
And this is the interesting thing. That's the first moment that I heard about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we just locked it down as of yesterday.
Oh, great.
For someone to actually do that because it's it's a phone that's just sitting up there, but you have to have the volunteer to hold the phone to sit up there to stream the whole event.
Yeah. Would you like to have another meeting of the players here today and anybody else that joins in on us on another working group in the near future to get some action items out there, make sure that things are happening to get this promoted, get the technology in place?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great.
Okay.
I think again. So I know I may have been the one to kind of just pull all the organizations together, but I don't want this to be my town hall. This is all of our issues. So I would love for us to get as many people together as possible because as a group effort, we'll definitely get a lot more done.
Yeah,
any insights you guys have?
Yeah, I can't do next Saturday, and I got the go-to meeting technology, although I could have somebody else run it, but I'm tied up then. You want to do an evening or a daytime this week?
Yeah.
I'm looking at calendars here. Let's see. Mission Beach Town Council is Wednesday. We don't have anybody attending that anyhow that's here.
Pacific Beach Town Council? No. Pacific Beach Town Council is Wednesday as well. And we're discussing Proposition 40.
Wrong Wednesday.
And, yeah. Okay.
I could do it on Monday or Thursday.
Yeah, I can do it on Wednesday.
Thursday's good with me, I think. Let me check.
Good with me.
You done this show? She left. We got relatives starting to show up in town on Thursday.
Or maybe Monday.
But being at home, I can break away. Monday the 16th, or Monday the 17th?
The 7th.
Thursday would work best for me. I still have a restaurant right tomorrow that I have to close, so it's actually I only have Tuesday, Thursday evenings, or I can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday mornings. Actually, Monday, Tuesday, Friday morning. I'm sorry.
Okay, I can do an hour on Thursday.
Okay,
I'll just
me
make
too.
it happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
What time? Earlier the better for me.
Earlier the better. Thursday, 20th.